Forget what you've seen in sci-fi movies. Artificial intelligence isn't some far-off idea anymore. It's already here, right now, in America's classrooms. And its arrival is kicking off a huge debate between parents, teachers, and school leaders about the future of learning itself. Okay, let's get into it. And the scale of this whole thing is just wild. A recent survey from the RAND Corporation found that more than half of all students are already using AI in school. Get this, that's a 15-point jump in just 2 years. So yeah, AI isn't coming, it's here. But, as you can probably guess, not everybody's thrilled about it. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Look at this disconnect. On one hand, you've got a huge majority of parents, 61%, who are worried AI is going to hurt their kids' ability to think critically. But on the other hand, only 22% of school district leaders feel that same way. That huge gap is pretty much the source of all the tension we're seeing. So you might be wondering, how did this happen so fast? Well, it was no accident. The biggest tech companies are making a major push into our schools, and they see a massive opportunity. A perfect example of this is OpenAI, the folks who made ChatGPT. They just announced they're giving free access to their tool to about 400,000 K-12 educators for the next 3 years. I mean, think about that. With one single move, they're basically weaving their technology right into the DNA of the school system. So this brings us to the big question, the real heart of the debate. Is AI a game-changing tool that's going to boost learning, or is it just a crutch that's going to make students weaker in the long run? Let's look at both sides. So on the tool side of the argument, you've got parents like this one. They see AI as a kind of guide. Their 9th grade daughter uses it to help structure her writing and make sure her arguments make sense. In this view, it's kind of like a super smart tutor helping her sharpen her own ideas. But, and this is a big but, here's the other side. If the AI is organizing your thoughts for you, are you actually learning how to organize thoughts yourself? That's the core fear. That by outsourcing the mental heavy lifting, students are skipping the struggle, the part where the real learning actually happens. And what about the teachers? Well, they're right in the middle of this, and honestly, they're split. Some see it as just the next step in education, another change to get used to, but a lot of others are raising some serious red flags. They're noticing that students who use AI often can't even explain their own work. But then you've got school leaders looking at it from a different angle, hoping AI can help teachers save time by creating customized lesson plans. Okay, to really get what's at stake here, we need to zoom out. Let's pull back from the individual classroom and look at the bigger picture, the business side of things, and the long-term risks. To help us wrap our heads around this, an education expert named Justin Reich has this perfect analogy, the Scantron machine. Remember those? It was a piece of tech that was supposed to make everything way more efficient for teachers. This is what he calls the efficiency trap. It starts with a great promise, save teachers a ton of time. And it worked. But somewhere along the way, the goal shifted from checking for deep understanding to just being efficient. And what did we get? Decades of multiple choice tests that don't really measure if a student can build a complex argument. The fear is that AI could be the Scantron on steroids. And this promise of technology being the great equalizer, it's a story we've heard before, again and again and again, for 100 years. From the radio to the personal computer to the web, we've been told that the next big thing in tech will finally close the gap in education. And every single time, it's ended up helping wealthier students the most. It's a pattern, and it really makes you wonder, will this time be any different? Which brings us to another huge question. Especially when you see these companies giving away their products. When a company offers something for free in schools, you gotta ask yourself, is it really free? So what's the catch? Well, experts say it's basically a customer acquisition strategy. These companies are getting kids to love their brand, so they'll be customers for life. And this free model is being paid for by venture capital. Remember when Uber rides were super cheap? It's kind of like that, but for education. Eventually, those investors are going to want their money back, and that could mean schools having to pay for expensive subscriptions or having ads pushed to our kids. So with all this on the table, the good, the bad, the kind of scary, what do we do now? Because let's be real, the genie's out of the bottle on this one. The question isn't if we use AI, it's how we do it right. Pretty much everyone agrees, trying to ban AI is a lost cause. The only way forward is to embrace it, but to do it really, really carefully. And that means the teacher's job is actually more important than ever, but it's changing. They're shifting from being the main source of information to being a guide, a supervisor, and a critical fact checker.
to help students use these powerful tools without getting lost.
So we'll leave you with this. The most popular comparison out there is that AI is the new calculator, a tool that completely changed math class. But that analogy forces us to ask a really tough question. What are the fundamental skills we're willing to risk if the next generation of students forget how to do the basic math themselves?